guys, welcome to Muscle Memory. My name is Malcolm, and leading into Tijuana, Mexico is part two of TripleMania. And here I have a booker, creative, a legend in the ring himself is Konnan. How are you?
Yo, how you doing, Malcolm? Thanks for the invitation.
I'm doing well. I'm sitting here talking to you right now. We're talking about TripleMania. I mean, the next
Right.
event is going to be on July 15th. You can see on Fight TV. It's going to be in Tijuana, Mexico. The brand of TripleMania is like such like a powerful one itself, and like it's like AAA's version of WrestleMania or Wrestle Kingdom. But for people that haven't really got into like AAA yet and are looking to get into it this weekend, what makes this show different from other big wrestling supercards?
Because it's lucha libre and that's what we serve. It's like a lot of people don't understand lucha libre because it doesn't look like American wrestling. Well, you don't go into a restaurant and you know, um, um, at a Mexican restaurant, and expect they need a hamburger, they serve tacos there. You know what I'm saying? So it's our form of wrestling. Just like the Japanese have their form. And European have their style. Some people don't like it because, like, their main gripe seems to be it doesn't look like American wrestling. No shit, it's Mexican wrestling, right? So, and then the other one is we don't do a lot of tagging in and out, but that's our stilo. You know what I'm saying? And we have a heel ref. It works for what we want to do. There was a point in time where he was overused, which a lot of fans were mad about, and that was stopped immediately, because he shouldn't be the onyx of the show. The talent should, you know what I'm saying? But and a lot of people think that we don't do any storytelling, that it's back and forth. I firmly believe, and this is something that they love in Mexico, that Mexicans love video game matches, where you're just going back and forth and entertaining them. Nobody's really selling, there's no real storyline. It's just like a video game. And then we have our storytelling, like we have one story right now with QT Marshall of AEW against Pentagon, where, after a match in Mexico, we found Pentagon bleeding right outside of his car. We didn't know who did it. And then we had another thing where he was taking pictures of his family and putting it in a suitcase, and he was mad about that. So we've been doing this for a while. And now finally, because the guy that was attacking was wearing a mask, and finally he revealed himself. And then we shot another thing there where Pentagon was tied up in a chair, and QT Marshall was giving him the reasons why he was fucking with him. You know what I'm saying? So now this comes to a head, supposedly, in an ambulance match where you really got to mess up your opponent so bad that you put him in an ambulance and shut the doors, right?
Right.
So, that's storytelling. Then we have another story with another guy called Vampiro, who's a huge legend in Mexico, and you might have seen him in WCW and Impact in the United States. So you got Vampiro against probably our second or third most popular guy called Pagano. They're both baby faces. And so Vampiro has a group. One guy's Jack Evans, which I'm sure you know.
Mhm.
Another guy called Aramis. I don't know if you know him.
Heard of him, yes.
Yeah, he was in MLW for a little while. Really good young talent. So it's a baby face group against another baby face group, and in what's this guy Pagano's group is Mecha Wolf. Do you know Mecha Wolf?
Yeah.
Okay, Mecha Wolf and Bestia 666. Okay, they're all baby faces, but Mecha has a personal issue with Vampiro. Okay, I don't want to make this too boring, but then the extra layer on this is that somebody went and attacked Pagano and was wearing like a hood or something, and gave him a pile driver, and he was out for like 4 months. And then he came back and they attacked him again. He thinks that it might be Vampiro. So there's another storyline. You know what I'm saying? So we do stories. Not everything's a storyline driven, and I don't believe in everything having a story. So you have your hardcore match, you have your intergender match, you'll have your super mega incredible match, Kenny Omega and Vikingo. I'm a fan of that,
Oh, yeah.
and I saw them. I was there live, Tony Khan, thank you. He invited me, and because he knew, how close I am with Vikingo and how much I cultivate his career. I know he wanted me to be there for a big moment. I appreciated it, and it was magic. Those guys make magic, and they don't know how to do anything else but magic. So, well, you'll have that match, the rematch. Can Vikingo finally beat the great Kenny Omega? That's a story in itself. So, we have a little bit of everything, little potpourri, so you don't get bored.
Perfect, perfect.
Sorry I took so long.
No, you did not. No, I mean, you're just running it down to make sure that people understand what they're getting into. And like looking at
Right.
like this tradition, it's the 41st show, I believe, for Triple Mania coming up in July. And looking at like just the history of the event itself, if you could pick like a Mount Rushmore of Triple Mania matches for people to go back and look at, like which ones would you pick?
I think the number one match that I would pick would be Octagon and Hijo del Santo versus Eddie Guerrero and Art Barr. Um, the one that started it all, which is the biggest gate in Mexican history, my retirement match against Cien Caras, where Jake the Snake gets involved, because that started off a real hot streak of a lot of good business in the United States and in Mexico. Like that was a hot feud. Um, that's number two. Number three, oh man, last year, the match between Pentagon and Villano was incredible. Mask versus Mask. And this one was incredible too. Phoenix versus Hijo del Vikingo. Incredible. Yeah. Oh my God. Because I'm still a wrestling fan and you have to be, you know? So those are matches that I knew were going to be good before they happened. And I went out to actually watch them, you know. What's a fourth one? Maybe not for match quality, but just the energy that was in that room. I would put in Psycho Clown versus Dr. Wagner. That was maybe 6 or 7 years ago. Mask versus Mask, and this is a wild one. And this was probably maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Blue Demon versus Wagner, hair versus mask.
Oof.
Yeah, we did a lot of smokes and mirrors in that match because of their age. Like we used a concrete block, we used a bottle, we used it was crazy. It was the people were really really into it. So yeah, those are some of them. I'm sure I've missed a few, but and if, for extra credit, if you really want to watch a good heel trio, and they really didn't even need me, but I just threw in a little extra sauce. Go back and watch the Gringos Locos, which was me, Eddie Guerrero, and Art Barr, and you'll see how to be a good heel.
I absolutely love it. And like the last time we talked, Konnan, it was right before the Hall of Fame speech. I believe like it was 3 days after we spoke is when they WWE announced that you actually were going to induct Rey Mysterio to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And then during that conversation, we talked a lot about Dominik Mysterio. I just wanted to get your thoughts on like what he's doing currently right now versus what he's doing going to WrestleMania with his dad. And a lot of people are talking about the fact that this guy has so much heat when he comes out. Everyone boos him. He can't even get a word in. Do you think that Dominik Mysterio has the potential to become a world champion with his this incarnation of himself right now in WWE?
Not right now, but definitely in the future because he got fast tracked. And so here's the thing. When you first start in the business, they'll put you in the first match because that's your skill level, right? Then I'm going to put you against main event. But there are some guys, like it happened to me. You know, I got like that big Goldberg push in Mexico. I was immediately in the main events. And even though I wasn't as good as them, I didn't have their rhythm, I didn't have their knowledge. What always got me over is that I always had like a special bond and connection with the fans because I always understood that to me was more important than wrestling because to me, anybody could wrestle. And early on in my career, I just felt, let me connect with the fans. And that to me was more important. So, bro, they had me in main events. And back then, it was a whole different breed of wrestler. They were mostly men. They were hard drinkers. You're like from the street, you know, and they weren't going to let nobody like me have an easy time, you know? So, what was the question? I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought.
No, it's totally fine. Does Dominik Mysterio have the potential to become a world champion?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I was trying to make a point. So I got in the main events and you got to learn or sink, right?
Yeah.
And so I got fast tracked like you would go to like Disney World and they put you in the front of the line. I just got fast tracked because I was getting everybody around me was better than me. So there was nowhere to go up if you had that passion to learn, which I did, you know. So after a while, I knew what to do and everybody respected me, where at the beginning they didn't. So Dominik's the same way. He's getting fast tracked because he's in there already. He's wrestled either in house shows or on TV with Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, the Usos, and most importantly, one of the guys with the greatest wrestling minds ever at his side, Rey Mysterio, Edge, so you can see he's growing. He's growing in that environment where if not, he'd be in the first and second matches, kind of going through the same process 90% of the wrestlers do, And so, yeah, you've seen he's getting better in the ring. He's more confident. He's been in what, 2 years?
Yeah.
I mean, and he's got great heat and a good gimmick. So I could see him in the future, not now, definitely being, and he already knows the business. He's second generation. He was there when he was a little boy. They obviously like him and they love the Judgment Day because, they do run Raws, yeah.
When you see like the booing and like the ovation Dominik Mysterio gets when he comes out, like what's like the first thought that comes to your mind?
I get very happy because I love Dominik and he's not like that. He's kind of, probably he'll break out of this soon, but he's a little bit introverted and shy, and raised very well by Ray and Angie, and he's very lovable with me. So when I see him like that, I'm like, where's this coming from? Yeah, because that's not really him. Like me, when I was a heel, that came from a place where I need to go to when I need to put my guard up, and I can access it real quick, and then I use it for my promos. But Dominik doesn't have that type of like inner anger. Yeah.
Of course. And to almost transition back over to AAA, something that I found really interesting was during this whole social media feud between Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, AAA had put out a tweet saying, hey, Elon Musk, we have an idea of Musk versus Zuckerberg at TripleMania. If someone like yourself that like does booking creative for wrestling companies, how would you book a wrestling match between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg if you had the chance to?
Well, I would see which one the people dislike the most, right? And make them the heel and do something where at the end of the match where it looks like the other guy's going to win. Like, let's say in this thing, Musk is the baby and Zucker is the heel, right? Yeah. So when it looks like Musk is going to beat Zuckerberg, Zuckerberg has some henchmen come out who also have heat with the public from whoever it might be. And have them beat down Musk so we could have a return match.
I mean, that's how you do it. You get two matches for one. I love it.
Right. And on top of that, you can just imagine. So this would be the most viewed event in history, without a doubt. What a better place to brand your product, right? Whether it's Twitter, whether it's Meta, whether it's this new Instagram thread, whether it's your electric, right?
Right.
Yeah, look at rates they have for Super Bowl.
I think it'd be amazing. And I guess like my last question for you, Konnan, is looking at the main event of TripleMania this evening, or in July, or July 15th, I should say, in Tijuana. It's going to be Vikingo defending his mega championship against Kenny Omega. If you had to take the hat off of being like a booker and creative and just watch it as a fan, who do you see coming out of this match with the championship?
That's very hard to tell because I will be watching that match. Here's a funny thing about Kenny. So he had wrestled Laredo Kid in a great match. And, Kenny's one of a kind, bro. He's one of my favorite guys to work with, and the Young Bucks. Shout out to both of them for being amongst the most professional guys I've ever worked with. And as people, just great people in a place where you don't always see that. But anyways, Kenny wrestled Laredo, and Vikingo was his second, was Laredo's second, and I forgot who was Kenny's second. During the match, Vikingo did a plancha, which is just a very simple move, right? A flying body press. That was it. He didn't do any crazy shit. So I was thinking, how do I tell Kenny that this guy that during the match really didn't do anything impressive is the next guy I want him to wrestle with? So I'm thinking, and before I could say it, he goes, hey, man, I'd like to wrestle that Vikingo kid. And I was like, holy shit. So he does know about him, So, props to Kenny that he's out there watching and who's next and who's hot and who has potential, and they have great chemistry, bro. Those are two of the best in the world right now.
Of course. So who do you think wins the championship?
I don't know. That's hard to tell because at the end of the day, Kenny still has more experience in him. He's been in bigger time matches, been in with bigger opponents, but Vikingo already lost once, bro, and he's just been chomping at the bit to do it in Mexico in front of his crowd. And that adrenaline that the crowd gives you cannot be underappreciated. It just takes you to another level. So those are one of those matches that you're like, it could go either way. And I hate to be that diplomatic, but it could go either way. Yeah.
What a PR answer, and I absolutely love it. I guess we'll have to see you on July 15th in Tijuana on Fight TV, TripleMania, AAA. Konnan, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. Where can they find you on social media if they're not already following you?
Yeah, people can find me. I only do Twitter. I don't got time for anything else, but it's at a KONNAN 5150. Holler at your boy over there. And also check out my podcast with Disco Inferno, the Heat Seeker himself. It's called Keeping It 100 with Konnan and Disco, where we discuss politics, sports, wrestling. We do previews of Dynamite and Raw and SmackDown. So, you want to hear something different, go check that out. K100, Konnan and Disco on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all that good stuff, YouTube. Yeah.
You heard it here first. Make sure you go listen to him. Guys, my name is Malcolm. This is Konnan. TripleMania is coming this weekend, and we're out.